Hey guys, it's Reconrocket, you can call me Reco, and we are back with another video. As it's that time of the month, I wanted to make 3 separate videos documenting my journey through this year's Octoyber. Now, for the ones that are not familiar, Octoyber is a fun 31-day challenge made by the ACBA community back in 2018, where each day you have a specific theme for that day, and you have to take a picture that correlates to the desired theme. Some of you may be wondering, what in the world is an ACBA? Well, it stands for Articulated Comic Book Art. This is a visual art form acknowledged since 2009 by a group of action figure collectors. The art form uses highly articulated action figures and incorporates elaborate background sets, props, dynamic lighting, and comic book style effects, as well as the most important elements of all, imagination and creativity from the photographer in order to create breathtaking media for anyone to enjoy. The term was coined by a man named Book Nice, or Book ACBA, who is the founder of the forum. The ACBA community has grown to over 17,000 members in the private Facebook group as of today, with more joining every day, as well as over 80,000 followers on their official social media page on Instagram. Huge shout out to Book ACBA's main core series, Pancheezy's Posing 80Z episodes, and Century Productions Watchtower series. I would not be making videos without the inspiration these 3 have given me. Now, without further ado, let's jump into the first day of October. So this is day 1, milestone moment. So for this picture, I was trying to emulate, Goku going Super Saiyan 3 for the first time in the Buu Saga. Obviously a milestone moment for him and the series in general, but also I want to relate this photo specifically to my toy photography journey. Back in 2022, I tried to make a photo similar to this, which will be shown right here. However, of course, back then, I wasn't nearly as skilled, I'd want to say. I was limited in kind of my equipment. I was using an iPhone 6. Wasn't, the worst thing in the world, but it also wasn't, anything to write home about. At the same time, I feel like I definitely got better with posing. Goku looks so much better. I looked at reference photos for this specific photo shoot. Instead of the other one, I kind of went off the dome, which I honestly don't mind how that Goku's posed. But at the same time, it was also trying to play with the angle and things like that. There's a bunch of explosions around Goku in the old one that make no sense towards the photo. But I had to kind of try and improvise just because, A, I didn't know, Photoshop back then. So even if I was able to, show a stand, I didn't know how to get rid of that. But also back then, we didn't have this effect from SH Figure Arts to Machinations, where this is the one that came with the Kamehameha set, and you can have the figure elevated and, the stand is attached to the aura. Back then, we only had the aura, so I had to prop that up on a couple of, blocks or whatever. I had a couple of boxes, and then I put Goku on another box, and then I had to I tried to hide it with all these explosions and things like that around him so that you don't see any of that. But of course, since it's been a couple of years now, I'm like, okay, that doesn't look as great as I thought it did when I first took the photo. But that's where you improve, that's where you learn, and I'm really proud of where I am today with my toy photography. I still have a lot to learn. I still, struggle sometimes with even simple stuff, but I mean, that's the love of the game. You learn, you adapt, and you just continue on. So yeah, that's day 1. Alright, so day 2 is Unmatched Aura. So of course I had to go with my guy, Piccolo. I went with the Daima version of him just because I just got him a couple of days before I made this photo. It's a very simple photo. It's just a red background with, a couple of rocks in the back, and then the diorama I made in the front that Piccolo was meditating on. Honestly, the diorama piece does not look that great. It's a little old, but it's the only one that I can have, figures sitting or standing on it. yeah, no, I really gotta either try and make new ones or just buy way better ones. But yeah, no, I mean, there's nothing too crazy about this one. Let's just keep on going. So day 3, it takes an army. So with this one, I actually decided to go with Marvel, just because, you know, with Marvel Legends, I just got these shield agents. These are actually from the 3-pack. This is Nick Fury's body, but I just bought 3 of them just on eBay. I've always wanted to army build something, and I think these were perfect. Every single time I wanted to army build something, you know, previously, they were already kind of on outdated bucks, like the old shield agents. I'm not talking about like the Toy Biz ones, but the Hasbro ones. You know, they were on the Bucky Cat body, which by the time, you know, I was like, okay, I want to start collecting them, Bucky Cap was already getting pretty old. So I just waited on these, and I snagged them immediately. But with the shot itself, this is, of course, inspired of Civil War. This is actually when Captain America is busting out of the helicarrier when Maria Hill is trying to arrest him. Civil War it's not the best comic, everyone will say that, but it's a lot of people's introduction. It was my introduction to a bunch of Marvel characters. There was so much advertisement going on, not just for the comic itself, but for Ultimate Alliance 2, which was based on this comic, Civil War. And again, it wasn't, you know, the best thing, but it's something that got me, you know, into comics. I loved the art that they had at that time. I loved everyone's, you know, designs and things like that. Were they mischaracterized in some parts? Yeah, you know, there definitely are a little bit of like loopholes and things like that, especially if you go from reading the Iron Man comics into the Civil War actual run into Captain America. You know, every single writer kind of depicts the characters a little differently. But regardless, you know, I'll take it for what it is. It was an interesting concept, and I really liked a lot of, you know, the action and banter that went on in that story. So you're probably going to see a lot of inspiration throughout this October from Civil War if I do a Marvel shot. Yeah, so day 4 was ripped from the pages. I went with Daredevil shot. I never ever did any type of toy photography with this Mafex Daredevil. This is the Mafex Daredevil. This is before the CT Toys one came out when I did the shot. And I love this guy. Like, I've had him, you know, on my display and things like that in my Avengers. But I posed him around a couple of times, and I was like, okay, I want to do, you know, a Marvel shot, and I was kind of in the Daredevil mood. So I grabbed him. I'm like, okay, yeah, I have an idea. So I went with kind of like a comic book cover. I believe that was Joe Quesada, if I'm not mistaken, as the artist for this. But yeah, no, I mean, this is a fully tangible shot, meaning there's no Photoshop or anything like that. I just used a black background. It's a black stand that I have him on. It's actually going to be right above his head, but because I was able to lower my ISO so much and have just enough light that nothing got reflected on the stand, I think it turned out as best as I could have gotten it. I'm really happy with the shot. Day 5 was Everybody Loves a Hero. I could have gone with another Marvel, I could have gone with DC, but I was like, you know what? Dragon Ball, that's just my roots for photography. You know, I collect Dragon Ball stuff, I collect Marvel Legends as well, and I collect DC figures as well. But, you know, Dragon Ball Z is just my bread and butter when it comes to photography. And I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's do a shot. So I was like, okay, Everybody Loves a Hero. How can I, you know, put my own spin on it? I was like, I haven't done any photography with Hercule in a minute. Let's go with that guy. Let's go with my boy. So I was like, you know what? Let's have him entering, you know, the Cell games against Cell. Yeah, no, I mean, I think the shot, it's simple enough. It's just a digital background, my computer, you know, the rocks that I always use in the back, everything spread apart, just to give it more kind of depth, so it doesn't look super everything close together. And then I have, you know, the diorama, and then I printed that like years ago, which is supposed to be like one of the corners of the Cell Games arena. So yeah, no, I mean, again, pretty simple shot, but I think it's effective. I think it turned out well. I really like it. Alright, so day 6, villainous activities. This one, again, I was thinking at first, okay, let's go with Green Goblin, but I was like, shoot, everyone's gonna do Green Goblin, man. Everyone's gonna want to do Green Goblin. So I was like, you know what, let's go with something different. So I went with Android 19 and 20, which I think these are amazing figures in the SH Figure Arts Dragon Ball line. And then I went with Yamcha, and I never used the effect with Yamcha that has Dr. Gero stabbing him. But oh my god, this was horrendous to, of course I photoshopped the actual, like, translucent parts, but to get rid of that, I mean, again, it's really not the best. If you really look at around that area where his hand's coming out, you could be like, oh, that looks a little wonky, or that looks a little weird. But, like, from a distance, I think that's as best as I could have gotten it. I did so much tweaking. This took me at least, like, 2 hours. I'm not even gonna lie. It took me at least 2 hours. It pushed my, it definitely pushed my mental capabilities in Affinity. But no, I really like how the shot came out. You know, simple white drop background. Yeah, no, super happy. So day 7 was point of view. So of course I was gonna do kind of like a first-person perspective shot, and I was like, okay, I want to do Goku doing Kamehameha. So I was like, why not, you know, bring out one of my favorite third-party figures, this is Broly, just from the scene from movie 8 where Broly just tanks the Kamehameha blast like it's freaking nothing, just stares Goku down. I was genuinely terrified of that scene when I was a kid, I'm not gonna lie. I literally thought Broly was like the devil of Dragon Ball. He just had so much, he had so much sauce, dude. I love this guy, I love this figure, I love this character, even with all his flaws. But yeah, no, again, black background, heavy lighting on the Kamehameha to give it that blue, you know, finish. And then to get it on Broly so it looks like it's coming at him. And then just a little bit of Photoshop on the eyes. Is it a little too much? I don't know. I kind of like it, not gonna lie. Just to really emphasize of him almost being, you know, like a devil of a character. Alright, so day 8 is told through panels. This one I took 4 shots. And of course I structured it kind of like a manga. You read this from right to left. I really wanted to emphasize, because one of my favorite fights in Dragon Ball is Goku versus Cell. And that's exactly what I was going for, where they're kind of like going through the Cell Games arena and the Z-Fighters aren't able to catch up with like where they are besides really Gohan. And I really wanted to emulate that. I don't know if I got it 100%. I'm going to be, you know, I'm going to be real with you. But, you know, I hope it's good enough. You know, it's supposed to be from the top, you know, there it's just dust, and then, you know, I go to a white background to emulate that they're kind of, you know, kind of go for like speed, kind of like they're kind of doing this so instantaneously that, you know, you can't see them in real time, which is essentially what it was. But yeah, that's day 8. This one I felt so about, but Alright, day 9, I've made a huge mistake. I was like, you know what? Another Dragon Ball. Let's go with Super Vegeta, Cell, Super Vegeta kicking him full force, Cell not even budging. Love that scene. You just see Vegeta lose all of his confidence. Yeah, I mean, Vegeta made a huge mistake. He made Cell able to go to his perfect form. He had no match against this guy. This dude was literally, you know, the perfect villain. But yeah, no. I mean, this was a very, you know, very simple and clean shot, but that's what I was going for. This is fully tangible. The stand is below, so I cropped it just enough so that you don't see anything. So I didn't have to do any, you know, affinity or anything like that. And I think it turned out great. I just put a can of beams effect on his leg just to emphasize, just a little. I didn't want to overdo it, but, you know, just to show that there's a little bit of force in that kick. But yeah, Cell is not affected. Yeah, that's day 9. And so the final shot for this first episode video, however you want to call it, day 10, off the scales. Now, typically in ACBA, off the scales would mean that you're trying to incorporate different scales of figures into one shot. So whether that would be a 1/12 or 6-inch figure with a 8 to 10-inch figure or a 4-inch figure, whatever the case may be. With this one, I took it kind of more, I guess not literally, but I guess I went with the more imagination route off the scales in terms of, you know, power and things like that. And what better way to go with MUI Goku and Super Saiyan 5 Goku. Just how absurd that sounds, because it is. But, you know, I wanted to give them kind of like a space atmosphere, you know, really, you know, shine on that purple on both of the characters. Yeah, I mean, again, there's not much to this photo, but I really liked how it turned out. The colors are definitely popping for both of them. I even took two kind of like portrait shots for both of them, and I was even thinking of doing like a panels photo for this one, but I was like, you know what, this is just perfect, just one and done. I do like the Super Saiyan 5 Goku portrait a lot. MUI was okay just because with this figure I'm using the TK body, which I love and hate it. I love how it looks and I love how it articulates, but it is loose as hell. And then with that's just the regular stock MUI head, which I do need a custom one because the skin tone does not match. I should probably get the TK head, but yeah, maybe one of these days I will. But yeah, this is a tangible shot. You know, they're just both on stands, and if you want to get technical with it, technically it is off the scales in terms of MUI Goku is just a little bit more elevated than Super Saiyan 5 Goku, just because Super Saiyan 5 Goku is such a tall figure. By the way, if you told my 10-year-old self that I will own one day a Super Saiyan 5 Goku, no matter if it's third party or not, I would legit think that this form became canonized or something like that. Because, you know, back then, at least when I was younger, third party was only considered bootlegs and things like that. Really, really, really bad bootlegs. So seeing where third party has come, man, like, it's insane. And I love this Super Saiyan 5 Goku, and I believe this year, everyone has been saying it, 2025 has been the year of just third party. They've been killing it. Broly, Gogeta from Kaminoe, Beast Deities Broly, this Beast Deities Super Saiyan 5 Goku, although it didn't come out this year, but I'll still give them credit for this figure because they definitely deserve it. But yeah, that's October day 1 to 10. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and join me back for the next one, which is going to be day 11 to 20. All right, take care. Peace.